years ago, where she was talking about the spread of Akram Vignan in Europe and the rest of the world, and with specific reference to Spain and Germany.
Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vajjayanam, Namo Loe Sabba Sahanam, Aiso Panchana Mukkaro, Sabba Pavapanashano, Mangalanam Cha Sabbe Sin, Padamam Havai Mangalam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Satchidanand.
Whenever we ask you questions, when you give the answers, but we are not able to focus our chit on the question. But later on, when I look at the VCD, I am able to catch up. Montreal, Canada. So when we ask questions, what should be our applied awakened awareness? Or because if we are not fully attentive when we ask questions to you, then we are doing a disservice. Niruma says, no, go ahead and ask whatever you need to ask. The more whatever comes across to you, that's fine. Otherwise, the rest you can watch in VCD. So that is why it's very important that you ask the questions. Go ahead and clarify and ask all the questions. Yes, build the mansions of moksha while asking questions. It must be something special that live he is not able to understand, and then no, that's not true. Many people, when they are live in front of the Gnani, they really do not get the point, but later on they come to the solution. But at the time when they are asking the questions, they do not really quite understand. There are a lot of factors. There are so many people sitting. There's a lot happening at that time. You are quite distracted. When you question, the ego comes in. A lot of intentions happen. And then the camera is there, you are on the spotlight, so you cannot focus on the question. And a lot of people are around, so the lots get disturbed. But second time when he listens to his own question, then he is able to understand it better. Then he can, in the peace of his own stillness, he can make a decision and make a correct appreciation of what has been said. There are so many factors that are there that prevent the live understanding. The other is to say that all this technology that is now happening, it is going to be helpful to the world quite a bit for the progress of a person spiritually. There is something beautiful will happen due to this technology. When we ask you questions, Niruban, what should be our mode? No, you should just simply, whatever the answer is, that answer should go straight into the heart and into my being, and there should be a lot of reverence for that answer, and there should be much clarity attained from that answer. Nothing else. And then later on, what has fit within, it should not move from within you. It should not go away. And then you move in that direction only and along the lines of what was received from the Gnani. When you came this time, there is a new dimension of Akram Vignan has opened. With reference to the Spanish world, the entire Spanish world has opened up. At least it has begun. I wanted to know, Niruma, when Dada used to give Gnanvidhi first, he always only simply used to say, I'm pure soul, and then he left few sentences only. But now the full Vidhi has come. And now what happened in Spain, they really couldn't understand anything of what you were saying, yet they had such beautiful results. This is a matter where intellect cannot reach the results. Is it the surrendering, or is it the spiritual readiness of the person, or is it because they were waiting so much for Niruma? Even there was a lady who saw you even before the Gnanvidhi, before meeting you. I know it's an intellectual question, but this is, it's going to, the answer is that it is beyond my own intellect. Even I do not understand what is happening. Yes, about this, there was this one, when he first came to London, the one from the internet he came for 3 days. He stayed in a hotel, Juan Carlos, and he must have spent a lot of money to come all the way from Spain. He came only for to know the self, Atma, and he came directly, alone. On the first day, he was given a little bit of introduction in English. At that time, his English was not very good. He spoke very broken English. It was not as fluent as it is now. There was a Mahatma who understood Spanish, so he talked to one at that time, and I spoke with him for about half an hour in English, but then I have to pay attention to all the other Mahatmas who are there in the London, in Shibir, so I have to give attention to the other Mahatmas. I cannot just focus only on one only, says Niruma. So he was sitting, so he was getting something, but he really did not get anything out of the first session with Niruma. Next day, he came again, and at that time we were having the Pran Pratishtha of Srimad Swami, and everybody was dancing with the Lord on their head, and everybody was jumping around. And he explained this all later. He says that, this here again, these people are talking about Atma and self-realization, but they're dancing with an idol on their head. He was not very impressed the second time around too. But even then, Niruma says, I took the Lord and put it on his head, put him on his head. And then he says, but by seeing the joy of all the Mahatmas on the Pran Pratishtha, I felt good. But otherwise I felt, instead of talking about Atma, they're dancing with an idol. On the third day he came for the Gnanvidhi. But before the Gnanvidhi, he had decided he is not going to go for the Gnanvidhi. These people are not going to tell me anything about the Atma and the self. But later, he wasn't going to come. But he says, somehow Niruma, I was pulled in the direction of Niruma, and I went. And I came for Gnanvidhi. And the Gnanvidhi was in Gujarati only. And he did the surrender in his own language. But I don't know what he understood in the Gnanvidhi or not. The only thing he had was the surrender Vidhi only in English. And there were so many people in other language, Gujaratis. 100% were Gujarati except for Juan Carlos. And there were many other Gujaratis who could not even understand English also. And the elderly uncles and the elderly aunts over there in London, Gujarati. So I didn't want to spoil their Gnanvidhi, so everything went in Gujarati. And he was speaking whatever the sentences in Gujarati. But he kind of went away with the feeling that nothing was going to get accomplished. But a little bit later, he started experiencing the separation of the self from the non-self, and a sense of peace. And then he kept on calling us, and he kept in contact with us. And then the following year, he brought to Surat. He brought 4 or 5 friends, including his sister, and they all received the Gnan Vidhi in Gujarati. And there was a Vladimir. And Vladimir says, I do not believe in reincarnation, life after life, and I do not believe in the S capital self at all. And Nicholas was one's friend, and Nicholas and one were childhood friends. He says, Nicholas says, whatever my childhood buddy does, I will do. So because he went for the Gnan Vidhi, so I also went for the Gnan Vidhi. I don't know anything else. I do not know anything else. And so he told me to come, so I came. And so he told me to come for the Gnan Vidhi, so I took the Gnan. That is all. They used to study together. And then Nicholas left for Germany. Vladimir remained in Spain. And there were subsequently some more Spanish people came, 5 or 6. Anyway, Vladimir said, Vladimir said he didn't believe in life after life or rebirths. But they all said that after receiving Gnan, there is tremendous peace within. There is something in this Gnan Vidhi. He doesn't believe in it, but there is something in the Gnan Vidhi for sure. And then they came to India, and then the Gnan got established within him. He said, wherever you are, I'll come. He's told Niruma. This is talking about Juan Carlos. This is such that nothing happens in this. Nobody has any independent control in it. This is all scientific circumstantial evidences. And somebody will say this, whatever it does.